In episode 7, Mags Bossert joins me, and she was a really unique story. So her mom was a twin, and they were identical twins. They lived together, raised their children together. Um, she even recounts how, like, if they would say, like, if something happens to me, it's happening to you too. Like they were going to die together, everything. Like they were just so connected. And Mags lost her mom and her aunt to COVID. And her 3 words to describe her grief were physically feel, constant, and all encompassing. And Mags took a real hard look and was super descriptive about what it was like to have her entire world just turned upside down. In her episode, we talk about so many things that we had in common, like being a mother, what it was like trying to navigate grief as a mom when you are trying to just figure it all out yourself. And she takes like this really honest look of what it was like to really struggle in grief, and that her like kids were her reason for kind of like trying to make it through this, because she just missed the 2 most important people in her life. We talked extensively about the isolation that loved ones faced during their fight, and then what it was like on the other side of being the loved one, and what that isolation was like during COVID. Josh touched on it a little bit in his episode, but I feel like Mags goes into it the deepest. And she talks about having previously existing struggles that manifested during her loss, whether it was self harm or her eating disorder. And I think one of the biggest takeaways from Mag's episode that we should all consider is that she says, I wish people could get there. And she was referring to getting help before she did. And that she really struggled. And these previous issues that she had made its way on out during her grieving process, like it does for so many people. And this is just like the reoccurring theme of the damage that can be done, you know, to grief. And I'm not saying that Mags did this, but I've seen this in my grief group and just with people that I've known. If you delay and you suppress that grieving process, and we learn this, it's going to come out. It's going to manifest its way in other, manifest itself in other ways. And it's just so important to go and to do work or talk to somebody or at your own speed navigate this, because it is now part of who you are and it can't be avoided and it will manifest. And it was really interesting to kind of like hear these stories of people, of like why they joined grief group, or whether it's in the podcast of like, yeah, I wasn't going to deal with it, but it's still there. And so I think one of the most powerful moments of Mag's interview is like how she has made it out the other side and how she had regrets of like delaying when she sought help, and the help that she's getting now, and just how like common this is for anybody who's like struggling or going through something. She was extremely brave in her episode. And again, it was like this reflective mirror for me because we both lost our moms. We were both moms ourselves, trying to navigating kind of this whole, thing. But Mags was incredibly brave during her episode, and to lose a mother and an aunt, and she referenced it. It was so powerful in the episode. She was like, when I was a kid, I thought it was normal to have 2 moms. I didn't have a reference point to know that like my mom's identical twin was like a bonus mom. And then she remembers the moment when she realized like that she wasn't in a typical situation. So she lost 2 people so consecutively that were such a fiber woven into her life. And I can't imagine. I just can't imagine.